All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing out there? It is Friday, people. It's Thinker St. James. It's Chase Parton, and it is the free for all where we go over all of the comedy and the tragedy in the world of mixed martial arts. With us is going to be a whole bunch of stuff that Chase has picked out because I have been exceedingly busy this week. I've been a little bit removed, so Chase is going to catch us all up on this. He is the captain of the ship. Chase Parton, how you doing, brother?
Dude, I am fucking good. I cannot wait to go over some of these things with you because honestly, I need your opinion on a lot of them. I don't know what to think by myself. I'm one of these people. I'm a sheep. I just go into things. I need people to tell me how they feel so then I can now make an opinion and then go spread that on to other people and probably ruin their day with that. But
well, then collectively we will shepherd these opinions together, and we will do that also with the chat. Of course, we're seeing Beeb coming in early. Appreciate you. Sarah Toby coming in, the queen. Appreciate you guys here. And of course, since this is the Friday stream, we're a little bit more loose, a little bit more relaxed on these ones. So by all means, let us know what you think about these stories as well. We'll highlight a couple of your comments, and we will have a grand old time with what is shaping up as we come into this weekend. One of the largest pay-per-views of the year, potentially at least. And we found out that I guess you're going to talk about some of this stuff, so maybe I'll hold back. But
yeah, definitely hold back because listen, I'm already bursting at the seams to talk about this first thing. Yeah, this first thing that we're going to talk about, and this maybe is already what you're alluding to, and maybe not. I don't know where you're going with it, but the Paramount deal is going to be starting in January. And with that being said, they've already swindled us. They've swindled us. They've jacked up the prices. We are now screwed. And I want you to know why this is important to me. Is because just a couple months ago, there was a year-end sale, 50% off for Paramount Plus, right? I thought of this as a great opportunity to get 9 months of the UFC, at 50% of the price, get my annual deal for $30 only. And I was big brained at this time because, the general public is not actually paying attention to who owns what or what's going to be on where. They just get on the app and they're like, holy shit, UFC's on, Getting this information and being able to get that 50% discount felt like the life-changing opportunity that I was going to have. Now, all of a sudden, does not seem that way. So, what do you think about that?
I mean, I think that really, when I saw this, I actually had the same reaction. I said, man, Chase coming through with the galaxy brain predictions and foretellings of these things, because I also, when you posted in the Discord saying, hey, this is a good opportunity for you to get this at a discounted price before the changeover happens. I said, you know what? I'm going to do it as well. And I did that, saw this, and was like, well, thank God for that. However, I am certainly acknowledging that this is a bit of a bait and switch. However, you have to go 2 steps farther. We still are not going to have the pay-per-views, though. So I think that this is still a net positive, the whole Paramount deal and the shakeup and everything. It is, I think, very poor optics, I would say, to be doing this right as this is happening, though. I think that it would have been very smart of them to say maybe in February, start doing this. Be like, okay, you get that first month out of the way. Hey, prices are going to start raising. Let everybody realize why it's so great. You know what I mean? Give us a month of realizing that this is this is what you want. Like, oh man, we don't have to pay for pay-per-views anymore, or get them in alternative fashions like some people do. Give people a little bit of a comfort level with the new service, see what the quality level of the streaming is like. Hopefully that's going to be okay. We've got a lot of questions still. So to find out that we're going to be getting a price hike on top of all of those lingering questions that still need to be answered, that I think is what's poor about this.
My thing is this could have been said initially. Like they could have been like, yes, there's going to be a price difference, but there's going to be a premium package that will bring along this form of live sports. The fact that they've said it, like you were alluding to at the beginning, you know, this is one of the biggest cards of the year. The most eyes are going to be typing in UFC. They're gonna get shit like this. People are gonna be like, "Whoa, whoa, Paramount's gonna be." They're gonna be raising the price, like, you know, that's just a negative connotation. You know, when you think of price increase, people are not buying it more than when you hear price decrease. You know, so when you see this, people are probably not going to pick Paramount Plus to be their streaming service now that they think that it's going to be increased because the UFC is now partnered with it in some capacity.
For sure, and that, which leads me perfectly into Sarah Toby's comment here, who's guess who's going to still watch it for free. This is what they're going to be having to deal with in general, and that's again part of the optics of this whole thing. Because a lot of people, especially when they said that pay-per-views are going away, it's like, okay, this is a great opportunity at the price point to come in for this, but there are still going to be a bazillion options in less than above board methods to get to this content. I mean, you're not going to have to look far to be able to access it one way or another. So you think that they would try to bring in as many people as possible, but when they do something like this, it's like, okay, now I'm already like, oh man, if I was on the fence, I mean, you know, all of my various Russian friends can still be helping me out just the same.
Yeah, true. But, you know, when it comes to combat sports, and if there are people out there who are not necessarily looking for any specific combat sport, you know, or not combat sport, but mixed martial arts promotion is more or less what I mean. Because when you look at Prime, they have one occasionally. It's not necessarily as much as we've come to realize. You know, as I watch it every Friday, I get an occasional one card on Prime once a blue moon. It does happen tomorrow, by the way. There is your blue moon, but and when it comes to, I think PFL, didn't they go to fucking Max or something? What was
They
the
went
deal?
to Vice, I believe. Isn't
Oh,
that what they
Jesus
just?
fucking
Yeah, I
Christ.
know. Yeah, that's what a lot of people said. Wow, yeah, really going to the premier network over there, PFL. But I think it's only for their international events, actually. So I think they might still have a deal with ESPN for their core content. I don't. Who knows? You know, it's one of those types of situations. But yeah, I mean, this is like the division of all of this stuff. It makes it harder and harder for people to access the content. And this was supposed to be a nice way to bring everybody in under one service here. And now they're kind of, again, the bait and switch aspect of it makes it a little bit annoying for some people. I can certainly understand that, especially also considering that Paramount Plus, you know, to highlight Beeb's comment here, the only reason to get Paramount Plus for a lot of people is the UFC, and now having it, both of us, I think that we can see that that's kind of true. I mean, that's not a robust streaming service, I would say.
I think here's the key. Okay, Beeb makes a great point. The only reason that some people get Paramount is for the UFC, and that is going to be for a lot of people in our age group, our demographic who are watching mixed martial arts. There is another demographic of people who get Paramount, and I think there is going to be some crossover, is because Paramount owns the kids network. They own a lot of Nickelodeon. I know it's not Disney, you know, but they're moving away from Disney and the ESPN Plus, so we're gonna shoehorn Nickelodeon. If you've seen what Nickelodeon has been able to do with the Super Bowl and some of these NFL games where they do fucking CGI, fucking Patrick Star on the field and shit like that, and have slime touchdowns, we could potentially be seeing something like that for the UFC. I don't know. I mean, it might be a little crazy, but there might be somebody out there who wants to watch that.
Perhaps. I mean, there might be some little crossover things here and there might be some other offerings on the streaming service that would be attractive to other people. But the whole idea of $7.7 billion with this purchase of the UFC was to bring in the UFC audience. So you're now selling me that, oh, you know, okay, well, I'm going to come in, but now I'm already getting a price hike. Who knows how many more price hikes are in the future to offset the fact that we're not going to have pay-per-views. You're starting to dilute the thing you just paid all of this money for, and now maybe get a little bit of extra audience out of those people who might be looking for Nickelodeon and et cetera, et cetera.
It's not the
Comedy
people
Central.
looking for it, it's the people's children. That's the thing. It's like, okay, I get the UFC and I get my kid to not bother me because they have SpongeBob season 1 through 79.
Yeah,
I mean,
there
that's
might be
age
some.
that, you know, that's age 2 through 12. So
Sure. Yeah. I mean, no, I'm not discounting that there might be some of that.
mhm.
And that will make sense for certain people. Obviously, certain types of families, certain situations and whatnot. That will make sense for them. The same way that I'm a huge comedy fan. I'm very happy that I have the Comedy Central library from there. That's cool. I get all my South Park now. I mean, I've been denied South Park for a long time without it. There's a number of things that are like good points that as you go down the line that you can say, but like I'm coming for the UFC. I mean, like at least me personally, those
Mhm.
other people, it's going to be interesting. I guess that's really from that point, like what'll be interesting going down the line is how much extra will they get from people like what you're saying, people who wouldn't be UFC fans, but now, oh, well, I bought it for SpongeBob. I'm staying for, the fighting.
I think there's actually a really good case for this being the ultimate family package. You get the late night fights for dad. You get the crime dramas on your CBS network for mom. There's probably some soap operas on there. I don't know. I haven't done my extensive research, but then I'm telling you, the kids network. I'm not going to say too much about all the other things, but I've seen Fairly Odd Parents. I've seen SpongeBob on there. Jimmy Neutron. I'm pretty sure. Like these are bangers right here. I mean, like Jesus Christ.
I mean, you could try to sell it that way, but what you're
I have
not
stock in
getting.
Paramount if anybody
Okay.
hasn't been able to tell.
Exactly. Yes, well then sell on, brother. But no, I mean, I think that the issue becomes though is that yes, all of those properties that you're talking about are well-known big properties, and there's probably entertainment value there. However, you're not getting your Squid Games or fucking any other show that you can name on any other streaming service that is lapping Paramount Plus in the space. You talked about Disney, Hulu, ESPN with whatever bundle they're going to have, going forward now with the ESPN changing all of their arrangement. They're going up against Titans. UFC was supposed to be a part of making them a bigger player in the space. Now you're kind of bait and switching the UFC fans here. You're sort of kneecapping yourself before it even airs on the programming, before it
Mhm.
even airs on the platform.
Yeah, 100%. And before we move on, because I was gonna make a quick bridge to this conversation, and we will get back to that. But I want to go ahead and shout out Beeb real quick. That's pretty tragic to hear, my man. Hate to see
Yeah,
that.
yeah, no, I saw that as well. Beeb, how many times it seems that crazy tragedy befalls your life, brother. We've talked about how how much you've already overcome and obviously still seem to be going through, and obviously our hearts are always with you, and we appreciate you very much. That's a tragic thing to have happen. Take as much time as you need and know that we're going to be here for you whenever you're around and when you're ready to come back.
Hell yeah. And so other than that, I think that's what I'll wrap up on the Paramount deal with the price hikes, because we do have to talk about some other things that are getting cut out of our lives other than the Paramount subscription package, of course.
Yes.
When it comes to cuts, we're going to go ahead and wrap up what happened in this latest week. So obviously,
Play the
Chris,
taps,
yeah, Chris Barnett, of course, get the 3 gun salute or whatever. 2-4 exiting the UFC. Kiefer Crosby 0-3 exiting the UFC, and then Kurt Hollabaugh 2-3 exiting the UFC. And what is crazy to note is, and we'll start from the bottom here, just because it's the last thing and the first thing I wanted to note. Kurt Hollabaugh has been competing since like what 2000 and fucking a million.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, Kurt Hallbaugh was competing since Strike Force. So
So
he was on the last Strike Force card. That was one of his first fights pro, or at least first fights of that caliber. And then he ended up getting a UFC contract, got cut from the UFC, came back after a season on The Ultimate Fighter, and had mixed results as you're seeing here. So yeah, for them to say 2-3 in the UFC, I mean, on this last little spat, perhaps, but
oh
his career goes way farther back than that.
yeah, I was about to say like yeah, 2-3, but he's been around for ages. I was like, that don't sound right, but okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
Kiefer Crosby.
yeah,
Kiefer? How do we say this?
Kiefer
Kiefer.
Crosby.
This is the guy that got kneed in the fucking head, and the ref told him he's got to get back in there, champ.
That
You're
was
good.
that was the one that was the most surprising to me based on how they did him with that. I mean, like you're not. I mean, granted, 0-3 in the organization, I can see it, but like from the same time, he made some really solid points after that whole incident happened.
I can see. I definitely agree, and I think this is evidence of him making, one, good cases, and two, being too fucking annoying about it.
Too
Like
loud. Yeah,
he
exactly.
obviously was he was obviously making Dana mad. Like, yo, if we'll give you another fight if you just get over it. Like, we'll keep you around. But he was probably like, no, dude, that ain't right. Like, we need something to happen. And he was like, yeah, well, you can go talk to PFL about that one. We'll go see if they'll overturn it for you.
Yeah, don't talk too loudly about the power structure. Even though, really, if you think about it, he wasn't necessarily even talking about the UFC. He was talking about the commission. But you're too loud. Period.
And it's also like, when you're, I hate to be this person, but like when you're not a named player in this game, you sometimes got to just know your role and shut up and move on. Not everybody can chat. Like, not everybody can stop the championship fight from an eye poke. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's right. Well, yeah, you gotta work your way up to be able to still overcome those types of situations in this sport. That is true. But Kiefer Crosby is now in a perfect position to go join the that fighters league, the organization that's putting on the class action lawsuits or any of that kind of stuff. You
Yeah,
want to start. My point is, if you want to start piping up, you have options. They're just not the ones that you really want as a fighter.
yeah. So I don't know if this was necessarily them exiting him or him, packing his bags more or less before he was exited kind of deal. But either way, it does suck just because the last fight we know he kind of got fucked up and like
Yeah.
he did have a point, but what can you say? Me and Thinker were already having discussions before the call. What can you do? You can't become the cog in the wheels. It's already going. You're just gonna get run over.
I mean,
So
sometimes the cards are stacked against you, and the only choice is to change course if you want a different outcome.
there is a song. You got to know when to hold them, and you got to know when to fold them,
That's a
guys.
classic right there. It certainly is.
Speaking of knowing when to fold them, Chris Barnett being escorted from the UFC by the grace of God, and it's just crazy to me that he was able to amount to 6 fights in the organization after the 2 that I saw from this man. How was it possible that he could have looked good? I mean, he got, listen, he's not in the UFC anymore, and thankful, because I don't want to see him like have to get beat up again. Like, it's genuinely what's going to happen. He's not somebody that is in peak physical shape or, prime athleticism of his life. It's just not here for him. And, he can literally go do karate combat and be very, very successful. But the UFC is the pinnacle of the sport, and it is a disservice to the fandom to have to see him out there, because we know, like, and I'm not even, listen, I'm being serious.
I
Like,
know.
and that's what's hard about this. Like, sometimes you just got to be real. Like, I would love to see him out there if he was genuinely good. I could be like, wow, I'd love to see that dude go out there and throw a tornado kick and knock somebody. But he tries it and he misses, and then he loses, and his ass was out. Like,
But I mean,
just
but you're answering your own question from before. How did he stick it out for this long? That is the answer. He did it once, and when you do it once and you have the physique that he had, that was enough to carry him through all of those fights. But as we have seen time and time again in this sport, in this organization specifically, you cannot rest on a gimmick for too long. You will get found out, and that's essentially what happened to Mr. Barnett here. Same that we've seen with the Tuivasa and the Tafa brothers. I mean, again, you have a thing that you do very well, not exactly the same, not
yes,
exactly the
I
same,
know
but
what you mean, but
you know
like
what? Yeah,
it
you get it.
pains me to think about how right you are. Like, God, it's so bad. Like,
If you do one thing well and only that one thing, this sport is so multifaceted. You cannot just do one thing. Really, I mean, I don't want to, again, I don't want to tip the hand if this is something that'll be coming up, but Jailton Almeida is somebody who might be getting figured out a little bit as we see things progress here, and we can talk about that if it's in the cards. But my point is that one trick ponies. This is not the sport for you, for real. Like, there are other sports where you can kind of get away with that. I'm a hockey fan. Occasionally there are guys who are like really good stick handlers. Like, that might be a thing that can carry them a little bit farther than other people, even if they lack in other skills. MMA, it's you, your opponent, and that's it. So if you are a one trick pony, you ain't gonna last.
yeah, it is quite funny that people come into mixed martial arts and then they try to just only use one martial art. It is quite funny because some people genuinely are that good at it. But when you have somebody who, one, when it comes to the cards being stacked against you, you're short, you're at heavyweight, you are overweight, you are not in the prime of your life. Again, I could go over this all over again. It's just unfortunate that I couldn't have been a fan of a younger Chris Barnett, to be fair. I think Karate Combat could be your home if you genuinely still want to be the fat guy who does the jumping kicks. But if you're going to blow out your
him versus Robellis,
we'll talk about some things. But either way, him blowing out his knees and ankles doing that kicking shit is not what I want to see. So if this is where you got to call it, Chris Barnett, gun salute, my man. I appreciate.
But he was so fun when he danced to the cage, Chase. He was so much fun when he did his finger guns and shaked his belly around.
I mean, you're not wrong. You are not wrong. He was fun, but his time has come. This is not the fun league. This is the most badass motherfuckers league.
But you make a good point though that there are the fun leagues out there. I mean, like there are other play, especially in this era of the sport now, where there are things like like Karate Combat. I mean, there's places. PFL wants to be similar to the UFC in like their presentation.
Dirty Boxing's a better example.
There you go. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. There are other places where, so especially now that you have a little bit of name recognition, you go and fight in some other organization, make a little bit of bread over there, you'll be fine.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's all that I have to list and say about our cuttings here. Is there anything that you would like to say? Did you want to play some tune for them?
That's I was just gonna say that at some point, one of these days I'm gonna have the stream deck like I have over at Vitz King's place, and we'll have to get a little drop made up for these kinds of things. The RIP to our fallen soldiers here. Exactly. Right. Thank you. Yes, the taps on deck for these guys.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to our next one, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys. This was not next, but since Thinker already brought it up, let's go ahead and get his points. I did not listen to the video yet. I did not listen to this yet. So this is...
I haven't either, actually. I just saw the headline. Yes. Let's hear this.
Let me actually, before, there's other things that I have the same thing to say, and maybe I'll save it for saying it for later. I don't normally watch the clips. I read the headline. Same thing with another one later. I wait to watch them with you, or I just send them right to the Discord, and I'm like, hey, did you guys see this? Like, I normally don't watch it myself. I'm just like, hey, did you guys watch this? So, I get lazy. But we're going to watch it together.
I guess so.
All we out there doing is wrestling, baby. It's me and him in a wrestling match. I got a chance. Me and Jai Hilton, wrestling match inside of an octagon.
Yes, that's
safe.
It's
very safe.
It'd be really difficult to tell the two of you apart. You guys look exactly
and then we
the
look
same.
exactly the same.
Same body.
Same body. Both of us just getting takedowns. It's safe. I can call the next fight.
Great choice.
Yep, me and Jai, I can literally fight Jai Hilton and go and call the next fight.
Yeah, okay. So just to set up, I thought they were going to set this up in the clip, but just to set up why we were playing this. The question that DC was asked, and it says it here on the screen for anybody who's just listening. But what fighter would DC fight if he was to come back and fight now? Well, I guess they were actually asking him.
That's a shitty question. Wait. If that's the question, his answer is horrible.
Yeah, what fighter would excite you the most to fight on today's roster if you were still in your prime?
Okay, I think that was the question, and then they got off track somewhere, because the question ended up being, such and such about Jailton Almeida, and DC just went on a fucking tangent, I guess. No.
I think that was his answer to the question, was that he wants to fight Jailton Almeida. And if you think about it, I think that this is a very in-line answer for DC, because if you recall his famous quote to Ryan Bader, I want the easiest fight in the division. He still does.
Okay. All right.
For him.
Yes,
I'm not a hater of Jailton, like a lot of people have become now. But
and I think it is funny that this is 2 times now that he's publicly just like ragged on him, just like he don't even care anymore. Like he's just he just sucks. Like he's just not him. It is funny that he ended up losing after that, because like now DC stands to be right, and he can talk more shit. Like, dude, I'll fucking whoop him. I'll get back. I'll do the Bass route, and I'll put the shirt on after. Like it's crazy.
I mean, the only thing I could say to that, like, because my question would be, why does DC think that he sucks so bad? But the answer is kind of answered right there, is that he's what we were just talking about with one trick ponies. DC, you'd think that DC as the wrestling, the wrestling guy. He's every time that they're wrestling, he's glazing the performances. He's loving it when they're on the ground. All of these different transitions and whatnot just tickle DC pink. So you'd think that he would be appreciating Jailton Almeida, but the problem is that DC was a mixed martial artist. He knew how to strike. He mixed it all up, and he was a great wrestler, extremely high level wrestler. People forget how great DC was in his prime. But so that's my point with when it comes to Jailton Almeida, is that he doesn't do all of those same things. So DC doesn't like him. It kind of tracks.
I think the craziest part of this clip, and I don't know why, maybe they were being, it just didn't come off as a joke when the dude chimed in and he's like, we wouldn't be able to tell you guys apart. And then DC's like, yeah, we're built like exactly the same. Like, it didn't come off as like a ha 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 moment. Like, are we sitting here?
I think it was supposed to be, though.
Okay, all right. I'm just making sure, because I'm sitting here thinking, like, do I not remember if Jailton's a fat guy himself? Like, what am I missing?
I think that's their point. But either way, I mean, how many times and how many different ways can you play the DC's a bit of a pudgy guy card? I guess is just the question. Because really, I mean, there's only so many like attack methods that you can go when you're like playfully jabbing at each other. Senko gets a decent amount of different versions of that, which I think are all actually, for the most part, pretty tasteful, compared to what you could do as the lone woman on a show like this. But that being said, it's the same kind of thing. It's like, okay, well, I can only go so far with any of this stuff. So, DC is not going to get any kind of real, ardent hatred or not hatred, but like any kind of like biting criticism.
Yeah, this one was I think the headline actually sold it a little more than the clip here, but pretty funny stuff. Shout out to Beeb. Actually, shout out to his comment about disliking DC real quick, because not only am I don't necessarily dislike DC, but we're going to get into this next topic of somebody that I think a lot of people dislike, and I'm not going to agree with them. Maybe I was a little harsh in the past, but we're going to go ahead and talk about Mr. Muhammad Mokaev.
Hey!
So Muhammad Mokaev tells Ariel that Hunter Campbell and Mick Maynard wished him good luck and congratulated him after his knockout win. I don't know if you saw the clip of his knockout.
I did.
Pretty impressive. I mean, the dude that he was fighting probably mowed my lawn the other day, but it was a good knockout. It was
it was impressive that knocked this guy out. Was impressive about it.
It's more, it was funny. I even said the same thing as like, it's crazy because one, he already had his foot suspended in the air, so it's not like he could get power from loading up with his hips. Like, foot was dangling there, and then he just slapped him with his foot, and then he's like, whoa.
Well, but that's the whole. I think what people, because if you have not seen the clip, basically Mokaev jabs this dude, and then he goes for a kick, doesn't take his foot all the way down, and then kicks again with the same foot suspended midair. Very cool looking move with the double kick. However, it was the jab that started it off. This guy was already wobbly off the jab, is my point. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, it was cool that was what ended up doing it. But like you said, this is Brave that these guys are fighting in. That region of the world, Brave, is primarily Middle East and that side of the planet. There's a lot of fighters from that region, a lot of fighters that are trying to make their way up through promotions like Brave. I don't necessarily think that this guy was, the highest caliber based on what we saw. Was the move cool? Yes. Muhammad Mokaev is good. We know this. So, I don't know. All of that in context, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's time to bring him back. I was a little spiteful, and I obviously wasn't ever being serious because, like, it's not like this dude murdered somebody. Like, he clearly never did anything worse than Cedricus Tomas has done in the last 8 months, so bring him back. The fact that bringing him back would make Dana look bad, like, in his mind, he's like, I would be wrong if I brought him back. Like, so I can't do that. Like, I can't look like I don't know what I'm doing. So I don't think there's gonna be something there, but we'll see.
No, I don't think that wouldn't be my assessment of it anyway, because I think that what they were doing by cutting him in the first place is just sending a message to him to stop being such a diva, because that was the whole thing, is he's treating people poorly behind the scenes, even though that kind of remains to be, confirmed or whatever. We had heard a lot, aside from the whole Manel Cop situation with Mokaev, there were a number of other incidents that the organization was claiming happened with him that led them to saying that we didn't want him in the organization anymore. I think at this point, especially if he's saying Hunter Campbell and Mick Maynard are, wishing him well and then congratulating him, it's like, either bring him back or don't, you know what I mean? Like leave this guy alone if you're not going to do that. You're toying with him at this point. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, you got Hunter Campbell literally in the trench coat in the bottom of like a dark alley, and he's like, "Hey, Mokaev, I'm watching your fights today, buddy," and then he just never gets the call, Anyway, very very funny stuff. I think it would be nice to have Mokaev back, because there's been too many times that I think there's people out there who have been trying to get their DoorDash orders, and this dude's been fucking them up. Like it's just crazy to me that he needs a legitimate position in this sport, or he's going to continue Uber eating. It's crazy.
Facts. Yeah. Look, Makayev is good. He
Mhm.
was good in the organization. He was in line to potentially get a title shot at some point if he had not done the things that he had done elsewhere, behind the scenes or whatever. Let the guy come back at this point. Let him, work his way back up a little bit. Give him a mid-level guy, mid-ranked guy or whatever. Put him whoever's number 10 in flyweight or whatever. Just throw him up against that guy, and then let him work his way back up to the top. And I guarantee you, at this point, he's going to behave himself.
Is this the first time something like this has happened? You've been around longer than me. Like, obviously, somebody who's like about to fight for a title, they've just like kicked out of the fucking promotion. Like, but it's not somebody who like was like I'm trying to think of the way like they were good, but it's not like they removed them because they're going to continue. They're going to go fucking ruin their life. Like they're not going to be a professional fighter very long kind of deal. Like Mokaev definitely seems like he's going to be a professional fighter for a very long time. So removing him, it's like inevitable that you're going to have to bring him back because he's going to clearly continue to mop people. Like
Right. Yeah. The only person that kind of resembles this situation, but it's not exactly the same, would be Paul Daly. When Paul Simtex Daly was in the UFC, but he got kicked out because I believe it was a late kick or he intentionally threw like something, or I think he actually might have jumped off of his opponent. Like his opponent got knocked out and he like kind of stood on his body for a second and then jumped off of him. Dickbag move, most definitely. He deserved a reprimand for that. He ended up getting kicked out and then fought in Bellator for many, many years.
but never came back.
But never came back. So yeah. So I mean, like that would, but again, different circumstances surrounding that, I suppose.
That was the one that I was going to bring up is Nick Diaz, but it wasn't this
Yeah.
situation that Beeb just brought up. I was going to say it was for the weed things, but
True.
Nick
Yeah,
was going to
sorry.
fight GSP for the title, and Nick didn't show up for a press conference, so Dana made him fight Penn. I didn't know that's how it went, but yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, yes, definitely similar. But I mean, like, I think it's slightly different with Mokaev because, like, the things that we saw with Manel Kopp, like, that would be the only, like, the one that you could say that's the parallel. But, like, I'm telling you that a beef with Manel Kopp is not the full picture here. I guarantee you that it's the treatment of the organization people and the stuff that they were saying that they've been kind of keeping a little bit closer to the vest. I mean, they really have not, like, divulged exactly what he has done to, like, these people behind the scenes. But I guarantee you that that's a bigger part of this equation with Mokaev than the Kopp situation. Because like when you're starting to mess with like the handlers and the production assistants and that kind of stuff, and they're feeling a certain type of way, that's what travels back up through the organization a lot faster than Manel Kopp being a little pissed off at him.
100%. Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. And, speaking of people being a little pissed off, and, maybe nobody is, but I would say somebody should be when it comes to this next topic, because once again, we have somebody who comes into this card and misses weight.
That's what I was talking about at the very beginning of this stream. And yes, we got almost an entire card's worth of fighters making weight, except for one. And it is Beneil Dariush of all people. That was what was kind of surprising to me. Beneil Dariush, not usually the weight missy guy. I mean, he has problems with weight cuts in the past, but he generally will still make.
He's getting older. It's not always easier. Think about the last time that he was about to fight, which was 8-9 months ago. I don't even know when that card was. The last time Islam was about to fight, or the last time Islam did fight, Beneil was about to fight. He made weight, pulls out of his fight, then he goes home and eats cheeseburgers, sits on the couch and plays with his kids, for the next year. And now here we are. And now he's got to go ahead and be told, like, get in fight shape. It's like, well, I'm only getting older. I'm only settling more onto this earth. And a pound, 1.2 pounds, it's not the craziest, but like, that's probably the sign that like, I'm not going to be making this weight too much.
Let me ask you a question. I want you to be honest about this.
Mm-hmm.
If Beneil Dariush dyed his hair, do you think that the whole conversation around him changes? Because I swear to God that all of the age talk when it comes to Dariush is because of the white hair.
I think And shout out one more time to the Mank in the Discord. Um, he made a good point. It's like he's just like your average. I don't know. He just has like the dad vibes. Like he's just the guy that's just like playing with his kids vibe. Like he's just like you. I don't know, like the Iranian father in America. Like I feel like when I went. Listen, this is a true story. When I went to homecoming in high school, I had a date. Of course, we met up at one of her friends' house. She was like an Iranian. I don't know if I was Iranian, but her father was literally like Benil. Like that's literally when I think about it now, I'm like, yeah, that's about right. That's like the
He
dad
just he
vibes.
just
Like
has dad vibes.
he just would wear thong flops around with cargo shorts and a polo shirt and just like chill. Like, I don't know. Like, yeah, I feel it.
Yeah, okay, then fair enough. Then I mean, I'm just saying
If
that
he
I
dyed
think
his hair, it would be jet black, and I would think he was, he'd probably be older. I'm like, why does that dude have jet black hair at this point? Isn't he like 45? Like,
yeah,
shouldn't he
sometimes
have gray hair?
yeah, I say sometimes it goes the exact opposite of what you're intending with that. So I get that. I do get it.
Yeah.
But either
Like,
way,
what's that dude's name? Robin Black,
the
the
oh
karate
yes,
guy?
right. Oh gosh, yeah, Robin. Yeah, good call, bro. Yeah, that's a very good example of exactly what you're talking about.
Good deal. Maybe
Yeah.
what do they have? Photographic memories? Maybe I have one because I can picture that dude's jet black hair
I
right
mean, you
now.
see it one time, you'll never forget it. Robin
Yeah.
Black. Shout out to him and his very colorful commentary.
So,
But yeah.
yeah.
So anyway, about Dariush though, I mean,
Yes.
does this affect this fight? Do you think?
I didn't think he was going to win, and I never do because once you start getting a certain age, you got to fade the older person because the moment they lose, that's the only reason that you hang your hat on. So when I lose on somebody that I bet on that is well over the age that I should be, and I lose on them, I'm like, why would I bet on the old fart? It's like, why would I do that?
I gotta shout out Beeb coming in with this though. He's 30. He's not that old. He is younger than me, bro. This
Yeah.
guy,
Don't show your age now, Thinker. Come
I mean,
on.
fair, but still, I mean, I gotta like.
He's
I'm
way
lucky.
older than
I
Thinker,
say
guys. He's way older than Thinker.
I'm lucky. I'm lucky that it's not showing over here. Well, a little bit in the front, but
See, what's funny though is like when it just depends on how you read it. When I see that, I'm like, yeah, bro is 36, guys. He's 36. I mean, but
uh,
some people would like you to believe that at a certain weight class it matters, and at the lower ones it does. So at 157.2, he's weighing in with a 20% purse deduction, mind you. Uh, BSD. Oh God, I hate I hate this little it's not even a triangle at this point. I just want to break it down to you because you have BSD who lost to Moicano by brutality. Basically, you have Moicano who got to step out of the fight with Benil and go fight Islam, who got smoked in a second. I question now, he probably would have done better than Moicano because we've seen Benil beat Moicano now. Like, and then we have, BSD at the end of this equation here, who has lost to the dude who has lost to both of these people. It's like, how far down the list does BSD fall if he loses to Benil? Like, he's clearly not championship level. He's clearly not even on, the dude who lost to the dude who's never getting a title shot in his 36-year-old age. Like, he's got to win. So
oh yeah,
it
well
does
yeah,
nothing. It does nothing in my opinion because BSD he's got to win this. Like there's
and
just no fucking chance.
that's what I was gonna say. I mean, like, regardless of like all of the MMA math that you just laid out, optically, it would tank his stock entirely because a lot of people, you are certainly not alone in your assessment of Beneil Dariush. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people feel the way that you feel about Beneil Dariush, even regardless of the age part of it or whatever. They just think that he's this sort of unassuming guy. Like he's like the
Bro
Iranian
is
American.
ancient.
All right. Well, yes. Again, besides that specific point, he's like the Iranian American Iron Turtle in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? He's that type of. He's just an unassuming guy. Now, the Iron Turtle will go out there and kick your fucking ass, though. Beneil Dariush, he'll win fights occasionally, but like it's never like, man, that's a killer in there. So like. If he ends up losing to Dariush BSD, I think that the stock just optically gets dropped tremendously. And then, of course, you add in the age part of it that a lot of people do agree with. That there is no upside. This is not one of those fights that like both can win. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this one's interesting, but the weight miss, I don't think it matters too much because surely, again, at the crisp age of 36, Beneil's on his way out, surely. But I don't know. Maybe he's not. Maybe he's got a while longer. But it just doesn't seem like he wants to fight. Like he literally, you know, had you just gone through the most crazy camp, to go train for Renato Moicano, right, on a pay-per-view card with Islam, you could make a case here. I beat Renato, I get another win, I could fight, whatever you want to say at the time. It's like he just decided, I'm just not going to fight the next week or the week after, 2 months, 3 months. I'm going to wait the entire year until Islam is fighting again. I'll come back and we'll just fight whoever.
I mean, that might not have been his choice, though. I mean, the organization might have not booked him, but...
he could call up and say, dude, I want to fight. Like, we've seen plenty of times people who pick up they want fights. They can get fights, Beneil is not the type of dude that they would be like, we got a short notice opportunity for you. This is killer. Michael Morales, something like that. Obviously different weight class, but they wouldn't call him up for a short notice killer. Like they could have been booking him. Like I'm sure they picked up the phone and they just never. He was probably just like, I'm just hanging out with my kids.
I mean, he's living large off that show and win money that he got from that whole situation.
I didn't want to bring up that point, but that is another key point to this. Is like, why the fuck would he go back into a fight? He just got paid handsomely, and no weight weight deduction, purse deduction from weight miss. He made weight that time, and listen. If I was Beneil, I'd be on top of the world right now. The UFC loves me, and there ain't no particular reason why, other than I'm just in the UFC and I'm just 36 years old. Like, there's nothing that I could tell you that stands out for Beneil Dariush. Like, it's not like he's not from some specific region, like it's not like he's the one of one where it's like, obviously we got to take care of our Josh Van, but like he's just an average guy in the UFC. It's just weird. I don't know.
I mean, they might not love him so much if he's coming in missing weight. Maybe this changes the perception a little bit. We'll find out.
We will see. And so speaking of perceptions changing, because we're going to move on to this, unless you have anything else to add.
No, I think we'll see what happens with the fight. I did want to shout out the chat. I think that we got a couple people coming in, checking in here. So shout out to Michael. Saw you earlier. Michael, appreciate you, bro. And Hemant Chaudhry also checking in with us. Appreciate you as well, bro. And I do believe I saw a Wild Mank in the chat as well. So shout out to the Mank. Appreciate you being here, brother.
And we did just shout you out a minute ago to talk about the average American dad thing that you were talking about. Yeah, I do like the Dariush thing about that. But speaking of potentially risking a lot and not gaining much, what do we think about Mr. Cody Haddon pulling out of this matchup? And now we have Malcolm Wellmaker taking on Ethan Ewing at UFC 322. Obviously, they found a short notice opponent. We are going to get our Malcolm Wellmaker fix for tomorrow. Like, I mean, if drugs were not real, right, and Malcolm Wellmaker could be just injected into my veins, like, leave it to me to be one of the craziest people on the streets after midnight. Like, this dude is one of the most exciting people, and it's not even that he needs to be in the fight long. He just walks in and walks out. I've said it before. He's the bantamweight Pereira, and there's nothing you can tell me else about it. Like, until I see somebody take him down and hold him down and take a shot from him, we'll talk different. But this is a guy, Ethan, actually should be highly regarded in some capacity. He is 8-2. Now, hear me out. He lost his first 2 fights, and he's on an 8-fight win streak since. So it's not the most convincing argument why he should be in the UFC and be facing Malcolm Wellmaker, but it at least somebody that is like, he's lost before, he knows what it's like, and then he decided, I'm not going to do that again. Now, I would like to go ahead and listen to Malcolm Wellmaker's video on it, because I didn't actually listen to the whole thing, but I do like that he went ahead and brought some of this up.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about it. My fight for UFC 322 at Madison Square Garden against Cody Haddon is canceled. I got the phone call this morning that last night somehow he broke his foot and he cannot compete. My new opponent is Ethan Ewing. I know as much about him as y'all do, but he stepped up to take the fight. Shout out to him, and I still have my opportunity to fight at Madison Square Garden this Saturday. To be honest, it really breaks my heart that I'm not competing against Cody Haddon anymore. I was looking forward to the challenge, the respect that I possibly could have got from performing the way I planned to, but I'm grateful to have a replacement. So no worries. It's the fight game and it's God's plan. So we still gonna put on the show. We still gonna have a good time. And I will see you guys Saturday in New York at Madison Square Garden, UFC 322.
Every time I hear this guy talk, I just like him more and more, man. He just seems like such a genuinely cool guy. Really, I have not seen any contrary footage of him that would make me like think any other way about him. He's just a genuinely good person, the type of person that you'd want as a role model in this sport. So that in and of itself, I'm very happy that he's able to fight at Madison Square Garden, as he said, a big platform for him. And, now with a new short notice replacement, probably going to put on a pretty big fireworks show, I would think.
Now we got to talk about the elephant in the room, because this is what pisses me off. I love how even Malcolm says, I got the call this morning, last night, somehow he broke his foot.
Yeah, that you posted that in the Discord, and I also agree. I didn't say anything about it, but in my mind, the wheels were turning as well. Random foot break days before your fight, huh?
Yeah, biggest fight of your career. UFC 322, you step up against a super scary opponent, and coach probably broke your foot. I don't know. I don't think they were going to let him go into that fight. They were like, we got to, because, and this is what, actually, shout out Mank one more time. He made the good point. It's like, this is how you know they get paid too much. It's like, they don't have to fucking actually go to the fights that actually fucking matter. But the point that I would like to make, I think that's a good point that he made, though. The point that I would like to make is that people in this game, they'll say yes, so people think that they're hot shit. Cody Haddon said yes to Malcolm Wellmaker. He just got injured, bro. He just got fucking injured. It's like, I don't think this dude, listen, I think he realized that he was in over his head. And a foot break, listen, people go through a lot of different injuries before their fights. A foot break is pretty serious, but you must have been training really fucking hard to do that. And normally you'd be wearing shin guards and pads. Like, hard sparring, a couple of days out from your fight. That, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that.
All right. Well, let me address all of this. Number one, they get paid too much off of what the 8-8 he got in his last fight, possibly. Give me a break. No, what happened here has nothing to do with that. That he's not paid so well that he can say no. It's more of what you were alluding to. The foot break. You say his coach may have broken his foot. No, his coach bought him a boot to walk around in so that he can get out of this fight after he realized that he should not have taken this fight in the first place. He might have said, he might have thought he was the say yes to anybody, anytime, anywhere kind of fighter. Then he saw the footage of Malcolm Wellmaker and realized that he answered that phone a little bit too quickly, is what I would suspect happened here. But I don't think that has anything to do with them getting paid too much. I think that this was a miscalculation that he had to course correct on very quickly. Probably took a little bit too long considering it, and then had to scramble for something at the last minute. A foot break is something that you can kind of pull off. Again, put on that boot. Who knows the difference?
I actually really love your idea of it now. Like, it goes even a layer. Because I was thinking, like, when people get drafted into the military, back when that used to happen, and they'd shoot themselves in the foot or something so they didn't actually have to go. That's what I was figuring Cody Haddon did. He saw, like, this is true. Like, this is fear in my eye. Like, this dude right here, Malcolm Wellmaker, is going to ruin my career because he's going to just drop this right-hand bomb on me. Now, you got Ethan over here. He don't give a fuck. He's 8-2. I've lost before. I'll come in here. I don't give a shit. He's only minus 500. Clearly, Vegas gives me some opportunity, so we'll see.
Well, I mean, look, I gotta give Ethan a lot of credit, considering that he is now entering the same territory that Treston Vines entered when he fought Ateba Gautier. Hopefully, he has a little bit of a better performance than he did. But I mean, look, the guy's obviously got balls. I believe he's a champion in another promotion, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's bantamweight champ in some organization. That's the 8-fight win streak comes off of that, and him getting the belt off of that. So, look, he I'm sure that he's not a slouch, at least in that department, but he's going up against now not only a killer from the Contender Series, but a killer who has been vetted against competition in the organization. This is what separates the men from the boys, is what you do on the Contender Series, being able to replicate it in the organization proper. Malcolm Wellmaker has done that time and time again now, done it in emphatic fashion. I believe on the podcast on Monday, I made the point for the longest time, he was knocking people out so quickly that we couldn't remember his name.
True.
Say, it's as true now as it ever has been, especially going up against a competition level that is untested in the organization and coming in on short notice. So if Ethan Ewing can come in here and set the world on fire, this would instantly shoot him into the stratosphere if he could knock off the hype train. But I'm very, very, very skeptical of that being possible when Malcolm Wellmaker is as good as he is.
One thing I actually want to go back to with the video specifically that he said, he's like, I was hoping to gain a lot of respect with this performance. I really appreciate the way that he's thinking. He's thinking forward, like how can one entertain, obviously, and how can I advance my game, my craft, to make sure that I'm impressing people, that I'm impressing my opponent too, is another aspect of it too. He's got to keep him on his feet. It's not always just got to be the right hook. Chris Moutinho, he lasted a good minute, I guess, and then the right hook just fucking destroyed him. But he was setting the trap, and that's what I think is impressive. Maybe he was expecting certain style from Cody Haddon, and now he's obviously not going to be able to experience that. But I think we're gonna see something that's important. Is Malcolm Wellmaker one anytime, anywhere? Yes, it seems to be. But what's he going to be able to do when it's an opponent that has you have nothing to game plan for? You got a right hand and you got a lot of fucking confidence. So we'll see what happens.
Well, and that was going to be my question: is if you happen to look at Ewing's record, is he primarily a wrestling heavy guy? Because I think what Haddon was probably going to be game planning was going to be coming into.
Everybody's got to wrestle this dude at this point,
right? Well, obviously that, yeah. That kind of goes without saying. But do you know if does he have a lot of submissions on his record, this Ewing guy?
I'm not too sure, honestly.
Yeah, well, so that would be the only thing for me, is that if he's coming in with possibly a strategy that catches Wellmaker off guard, then sure, we're going to definitely see if he has a takedown defense at some point. I would suspect that's going to be a big defining factor, with the style that he has, knocking people out left and right. If Ewing is the guy to come in and do it, then yeah, would it be very surprising? Absolutely, it would be. It's not out of the question in the slightest. We've seen people come in before, and in fact, that really, for whatever happened after that, you can take it out of the equation. But if you recall, that's the Steve Erceg story. Steve Erceg coming in on short notice, knocking out a dude who was ranked. So it has happened before. Is my point. Do I think it happens against Malcolm Wellmaker? No.
Yeah, no. Well, it's good to have hopes. One thing is that going into this next segment, obviously, is there anything else?
No, I've already said it, but just to reiterate, man, Malcolm Wellmaker, not only do I root for him considering how great he is in the octagon, but how great of a person he seems to be outside of it. I'm very impressed by him.
I agree, and I've actually seen Malcolm Wellmaker do a lot of different press moments on a lot of different social media pages. So what I would like to say is, Malcolm Wellmaker, come on the fucking podcast. We can get you on the Monday show and or the Friday show, and we will just chop it up,
Open invitation to Malcolm Wellmaker anytime he wants to come on. I'd love to talk to him.
Hell yeah, your screen would be right in the middle of ours. You'd be like, shoop, right there.
There you go.
That'd be really nice. But on other notes, of course, Malcolm, shout out you. You're going to go ahead and win, of course. But this next thing that we're going to go into, I think, is really important because apparently some people that are in the fight game don't even know who's performing in the fight game. So we're going to get into this one because we were talking about it before, and Thinker obviously wanted to get a little spicy. He said, yo, did you have that video of Tracy Cortez where she was looking somewhat decent, but as of right now in the screenshot, she's looking a little questionable. What's going on here? We'll get into this video. I did bring it up. So we're going to watch. I read the headline only.
For one, especially because it's fight week, I don't know a lot of people. I didn't.
What do you mean?
I didn't know who the main event was.
Stop it. She's stupid. Stop.
Nina, I'm not even kidding. I knew the co-main because that's my main focus. But then I saw how do you say his name?
Mushroom?
What's that? The main event guy? What's his name? What is it? Him.
Islam?
Islam.
Oh,
is that his name?
Yeah, Islam.
And then I saw him and I was like, what is he doing here? My coach looked at me and he was like, he's the event. I swear to God, I was like, oh my God, and then I got to the poster signings, and I was like,
Oh, there he is.
but I don't, and people judge me for that. But no, I really do get judged for, and I really don't care. But
Yeah, but it's not that you shouldn't be worried about that fight. It's nothing to do with you.
yes, I was really focused on the co-main in my fight. And that's really for one, especially because it's fighting.
Okay, go ahead.
I mean, look, okay. So we were chatting about this a little bit, like you'd said before the stream started, and I think I've been pretty honest about my opinions about Tracy Cortez in the past. I know a lot of people are very attracted to her. Good looking girl, got a nice body, all those things, that make her compelling to a lot
We'll
of
talk
fans.
about it. Don't worry.
Sure. She is a mid-level fighter, in my opinion. That being said, put that to the side. This mentality right here, I will go to bat for her for, because I think that there's nothing wrong. You can't look at a fighter the same way that you look at fans. If she was somebody who, would be in the chat and said something like that, it'd be like, man, really? You didn't know? Come on, bro. You didn't know that? But it's like she is not watching this. She's not a consumer of the sport. She is a producer of the sport. So her focus being on that, I think, is perfectly fine if that's actually true. Is she doing this for content? Maybe you can make that point. I don't, hard for me to say on that one. But if it is true that is what, where her head was at and her scope of knowledge, I'm okay with this.
4D chess for sure on her part if, this is for content. Because again, she knows who fucking Nina Drama is. She literally has her own social media stuff. She knows who fucking Islam Makhachev is, dude. Like, she knows who John Pork is. I can tell you that for facts. And she knows how the fucking video of John Pork came. So don't even fucking start, Tracy.
How can you tell me that for facts? You know that she knows John Pork?
Because you can sit, bro. She straight up, and this is what be irking me too. Like, she just straight up put that on God too. Like, she don't know who Islam Makhachev is. The dude who was the fucking lightweight champ, about to go to welterweight and go get
pound
the
for
belt.
pound best fighter in the world.
You don't know the pound for pound. Like, that's another thing too. Oh my goodness, dude. Oh my,
but
what's
that's
crazy?
men though. That's what I was saying.
No.
It's men that she's looking at the women.
I guarantee you could go back and find her sitting front row at a fucking Islam Makhachev event. I guarantee it, bro. I guarantee.
Wasn't paying attention.
Of course she isn't. She's fucking. Listen. And we'll talk about it.
Okay, let me say this, though. I think that there is something to be said for a woman looking at men's MMA the same way that men look at women's MMA. It's men fighting. I don't give a fuck about that. I'm going to go take a bathroom break during Islam Makhachev's fight. When
she going to take a bathroom event for 7 hours?
When there are women fighting, that's all she's
bubble bath for 7
to.
hours.
She's in the back, bro. She's on her phone. She's doing women things.
Yeah, see, and I also, listen, it's just her trying too hard. What was it, Malashev?
Yeah, that was why I was like, maybe is this content? This might just be throwing for content over here.
It was also not funny in the slightest. Like, Nina Drama is over there cackling over.
That's her job, though. That I get. That's her shtick. She has to,
dude. And that's another, bro. She's on social media every day posting.
True. Shout out to CTE. I saw that.
So I just whatever. Like I said, she signed the fucking poster. Like, I know maybe this was the moment she realized, wow. Who's that guy right there? Islam fucking she signed it for fucking 350 of them.
When she is in fight camp, fight mode, bro, blinders on, nothing else matters. She's focused on Tracy Court or on Erin Blanchfield, and that's all that it is. It's one singular drive. She's a monorail right now, brother.
Well, okay, so we're going to get into this next thing, and we're going to continue to talk about Tracy Cortez, but we're going to go into this next slide because it's a two-parter, of course.
All
so
right.
This is the new UFC fight gear. So
and this is why a lot of people are big fans of Tracy Cortez.
So we do have Tracy Cortez on the screen. Gooners, hold it off for a second. We have some things to talk about. One, if you notice here, as her last fight performance, she missed weight, and then she got on the scale with her chopped off hair. If you remember, she is now sporting a new figure. I don't know if you've noticed. She's a little slimmer these days, very slim. I don't know if the lips are new. I don't know if they are, but who she is, I would not be surprised. That's all that I'm saying here. It's it's going to be interesting to see how she fares in the division now, because that was part of her game, is being the weight bully where she can just thighs sit on top of you, and then her grappling would do the work. Now we're going to actually have to see some skill back up. Like, if she's going to be even playing field when it comes to size, Erin Blanchfield's got a lot of fucking skill. She's been doing it since she's like fucking 6. Tracy Cortez, you better be able to, if you're not going to be able to wrestle at the caliber that you were before, your striking not necessarily something that I would say is your best attribute. I mean, trust me, I'm looking at better attributes right now, but we will talk about the wrestling could or could not be a factor. I'm worried is all that I'm saying, even though I think the new look is very good, very good.
Yeah, no, well, look, I mean, I don't think that necessarily the physique is going to impact. I mean, if we're thinking about this in physiological terms, like, I don't think that the physique is necessarily going to impact the mass as far as like her muscle distribution goes. Maybe I'm going a little bit deep into the science of it, perhaps, but like for what you're saying, yeah, she has a lot, like, and yes, obviously, she's got she packs a lot of ass. Okay, fine, put that to the side, Gooners. What I'm saying is that she's lower body heavy, and she has big legs, and a lot of times that she uses that leverage. She'll grip up top and then leverage with her legs. That's how she's able to cage clinch and move people around and that kind of stuff. I think that what ends up happening with that is that when you have a more skilled wrestler, someone like an Erin Blanchfield, that there are maneuvers that you can do that can easily counteract that. She was able to get away with it for a lot of like decent fighters before, so I'm not saying it's impossible. And she gets her hands on you. She's pretty sticky. Like she'll commit. So I'm not saying that it's like out of the question. Yeah, I mean, when she gets her hands on you, like if I mean, no, am I what?
I don't know. It's just a crazy thing to say. This is all really what I wanted to amount. I just want to bring it back to the uniform. This is the new UFC fight kit, guys. This is what it's actually about. Tracy Cortez and her form-fitting body. We could talk about that for days. I'm telling you.
All right. Well, okay, fair. Well, if you don't want to talk about the actual science of the fight and all of that, then yes, I do like the new fight kit. Actually, I think that the outfit is cool. I mean, I'm very critical of, because a lot of people love the custom shorts and all that. I've never really found, except maybe Pereira's at the famous ones that he had. Those I liked. There were a couple of ones that I thought were okay. If this is going to be the kit that, or the basic design that's going to comprise the stylization of the kit for across the board, I like it. I think it's understated. I like the the overall graphic of it.
We'll look into. I'm not sure what the speckles are here, right here. What is this shit? Like,
I think that it's like dotted. I think that all of like, because it's on the bottom part too, is that it's like, I think it's like it's a gradient, like where it gets like lighter with dots.
We'll definitely talk about some more of it, but that's the only one that we have a good representation of it, because it's the top version of it, because we have other versions of the trunks here.
Yeah, so there you go.
But there's no speckles on them. You're like, this, like, I get what you mean by these, but like, what is this?
No, well, what I'm saying is that like the part with graphics.
Sorry, let me go back. Sorry, like this part. You see these like hella fucking.
It might just be the lighting or the way that the image looks, but I think that the graphic, like, that's the whole thing, is that it's like a series of like small black dots that are all kind of clumped together to kind of create the design, is what it looks like to me. Same with the black on white.
Design is not too bad. I definitely, it's the last show. People don't actually like this design. I think this is more, I don't know. Like, the last one just looked really weird. Like, I don't know if you remember, it was just like a breeze, like in the wind or whatever. It was just like shit blowing on the side of the shorts. Like, it really didn't make too much sense to me. Yeah. So this one, I don't mind it too much. If you want another good representation of it, here's the championship versions of them for everybody out there. If anything, sticking out to you as what you would want to buy here. Oh, hold on. There we go. There's the
the skirted version of it. Yeah.
What is this? Like,
I guess we'd have to see it like close.
I can see it down here, right here too, but maybe it's just like a.
Yeah, I just think it's like, it's just a design. It's just a grouping of whatever the graphic is what it looks like to me. But I like it. I think it looks nice. I very classy.
It's like when CSI does the black light and they look on the. That's like what that shit is. It's just like speckles of shit all over it. But
it's like luminol. Yes, this is the luminol kit.
Yeah, 100%. But, I think going into the fight kit is very key because these are what we're going to be seeing for the, for the next, for the foreseeable future until they go with a new design because they've tried to switch it up a few different times. And then they've added new colors. I don't know if you've noticed they have a new purple. There's a new purple color. It's more purple this time. Instead of that like bluish kind of purple that we normally see. There's a
Ian
darker,
Gary.
yeah, there's a darker purple this time, which I think it looks pretty sick. Um, so I'm excited to see what other colors come of it because that's just the only one that we've seen that with this new uniform style has a different shade or different tint. So maybe the orange will have, because if you've seen Patty, Patty has the orange. There might be a different orange now that the design is different. Instead of a sunset bliss, they have a tangerine warmth, something like that. Those are good color names, by the way. If oil pastels come back, right there.
There you
So
go. Yeah, no, I like it. I mean, I'm fine with it. Like, I don't care that they exist. I'm happy that people enjoy it. I'm looking. I see the chat. Chat has a name and a whole bunch of the ones that they like, and that's great. I mean, if you like them, then that's awesome. I think that this is the standard baseline, non-customized version is very nice. I just don't really like. I don't know. I've never seen any that I'm like, man, that's the one, bro. Like that kind of thing. Like, I just,
yeah, Chad is actually lying. No custom shorts on this card. Yeah, Islam actually is wearing his custom shorts, by the way. So you're just hey, Sunset Bliss sounds like a weed strain. I might be cooking. But speaking of things that sound off and sound wrong, and if I say them out loud, they're going to sound even worse. I want to get into this next topic because this is just genuinely crazy, and I'm going to say it out loud for everybody to understand how crazy it is. Lerone Murphy is training with the Top G.
Is he really? How about that? Well,
Yeah.
I mean, the Top G has himself a fight coming up, does he not?
Yeah, not with Darren Till, specifically not with Darren Till because of that gay shit. Hey, Darren Till, that gay shit, dude. Now you don't have a fight with the Top G because you want to be going gay on Twitter. I'm not the one to say it, but whatever you want to say. So,
I mean,
Lerone Murphy training him. What do you got to say?
What I got to say is that Darren Till could have lost that fight sleeping in and never touching his phone. There was no way that Andrew Tate was ever going to be fighting Darren Till after Darren Till has been knocking people's heads clean off of their shoulders recently.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this guy fighting? Period. I mean, now in the Discord, we got a buddy Rwand. Shout out to Rwand, great guy, big fan of this Andrew Tate gentleman here, and had said that something I did not know. Apparently, Andrew Tate had detached retinas from fighting, and I believe he said both eyes. So. Now whatever the truth of that or from his previous, my point is that Andrew Tate does have fighting experience. Yes. Was he like a high level fighter? It didn't appear that way to me based on the footage that I've seen, but I wasn't following his career at that time. So maybe he might be better or worse than I'm thinking. Regardless, the point is that the guy has not fought in a million years. He has not fought the caliber of fighters that he's trying to fight currently. So when Darren Till is, possibly his opponent, no way in hell was that ever going to happen. And then who's he fighting now? Do we know who his current opponent is? Oh, he's fighting the influencer guy, Bryce Hall.
No, not Bryce Hall. It's Chase something.
Chase Demore. That's the one. Yeah. Okay.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Somebody also does not look very good.
Well, I mean, I saw him get a knockout at Misfits before, so he was fighting an influencer at the time. So yeah, can Andrew Tate win that fight? Absolutely, but that's the whole point: is he can win that fight. He also bought the promotion. So anyway, that's all as far as the Andrew Tate side of things go. Lerone Murphy training him with him. I mean, whatever. He's got to train with somebody.
You know what's crazy? Now that Andrew Tate, because the Top G does what the fuck he wants, now that he is the owner of Misfits or something like that, maybe that's not even a real thing, but they go under now, right? Like they go to shit because he's obviously not somebody that matters and he doesn't know what he's doing. He just bought something because he's been a social influencer and he has a bunch of money. Like, or what's the deal there? Or is he just like, dude, Dazen's got Top G and we've been on the up and ups. Like, I don't know.
I think that what I said in the Discord about it is I think that he's in an interesting position with the space that he occupies because for whatever reason, he's wanted to keep himself somewhere like in the conversation with the fight world, probably because of the audience that he has. So what does he do? He buys the Misfits promotion. He's the owner of Misfits now.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, okay, well, now I'm even more in this world. I have an audience that expects a certain level of masculinity out of me. I'm a former fighter. I gotta maintain the image that I have, but I can't get my ass kicked. So I got to figure out somewhere in the middle to meet, I think fighting an influencer makes perfect sense.
Misfits must be pretty cheap if this dude could buy them. That's all that I really have to say. Because, like, the UFC's worth billions. Like, other corporations, like billions of dollars. If Misfits can just be bought in like a day, like, he must have had cash to get it. Like, it's not like he had to like sell assets. Like, hold on, you hold off. We're gonna go. Like, when you think back to back when they were buying the Lakers and shit like that, it's like they had to tell him like, we're gonna figure out the money. You just hold it. Put the name down. We're gonna go sell some shit. We'll be back. Like, they had to go figure out how to get the money for the team kind of deal. On this one, it's just like, well, Top G owns us now. So
yeah, I mean, we don't know exactly what went on behind the scenes with that, but I do acknowledge that Tate has made a lot of money over the course of his time in the spotlight and before that apparently as well. So, yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that he was able to buy a, fourth ranked boxing promotion that's primarily putting on influencer boxing. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly the world that he should be operating in and buying.
I actually think this segue is very perfect because the next thing that we're going to talk about is exactly what the Top G should have invested in, because I think this is the space that he would have been able to thrive in with all of his schemes and
well, just
and
before you switch
scandals.
over, then,
Yes.
though, I do want to acknowledge shout out to Hydra, who's been chilling with us for a minute. I don't think we gave a proper shout out to the homie, but yeah, Misfits isn't worth a player on the Lakers. I think there's probably some accuracy to that. But go ahead, Chase.
Yes, facts, absolutely. So this could be the Top G's potential home if he wants to branch out into two different organizations. This is where this man needs to be, is in Karate Combat, because they have one of the biggest fights ever. If you didn't know, Godzilla is tag teaming with Sam Alvey, and then King Kong and fucking Robelis D'Espagne are going against them in obviously a cities collide matchup here, where they're going to be tearing down. Like, if you guys ever remember, there was a game on back in the day where it was called City of Monsters or something like that, and you could literally just fight in the city and just destroy buildings with Godzilla and all these big old fucking kaijus. Now, obviously, we don't have Godzilla and King Kong to go ahead and match up with each other for this fucking spectacle, but I would not be surprised if they did some AI type of fucking video to go along with it. Because I couldn't find the actual Karate Combat tweet, and this was going to go into a different discussion, of course, but we'll talk about Robelis and Sam Alvey for a second. But the original video of this is AI, where like they took the picture, obviously you're looking at a picture of them, but the AI is like them moving and like them like looking at the camera and like doing some stuff, and it's like really wonky, of course. King Kong is like punching fucking Godzilla, and I am here to say that I'm going to say it live. I will not be one of those people that we used to clown for never, getting along with the internet, never advancing past the internet. Because when it comes to AI, I've been very reluctant. Like, God, I hate seeing it. I just normally skip past it, but I don't have the video of it. But when you look at it and you see some AI shit, and it is what it is. Karate Combat being the one to go ahead and utilize it, I'm not fucking surprised. We saw the GFL go ahead and try to use it. It sucked. That's why they fucking went under, probably, is because they spent all their budget on that AI video. So how do you pay for AI? Like, how do you manage to fuck up that bad is the crazy part. But either way, we got a spectacle here. Two big name players, Sam Alvey, Robelis D'Espagne. What do you have to say, Thinker?
Well, I mean, at least on the AI part, what I'll say is that AI is a tool, and really you should be thinking about it in those terms. It's as how good you can use AI is what makes or breaks it. So there's good AI content and there's bad AI content. I didn't see the video that you're mentioning here, but as far as the fight itself goes, I actually really like it. I mean, Sam Alvey has been doing better in Karate Combat than the last 3 years in the UFC combined. Robelis D'Espagne, obviously in the same boat over there in Karate Combat compared to his time in the organization in the UFC. So, I mean, these guys clashing, I think, is almost a little bit of an inevitability when it comes to Karate Combat. Yeah, I like this fight. I think it's great for the organization. It's really like two of their biggest fighters, if you really think about it. Their biggest named fighters that are not riding on some other type of wave. So I'm okay with this. I like it. I think it's good, and I'm just glad to see Karate Combat actually putting on events at all again.
Yeah, I'm literally at this moment trying to find the actual like GIF of it, but like apparently Karate Combat doesn't have an official Twitter anymore. Whatever, I don't know. But the reason this was a good segue, because back to the original topic, the top G could have bought Karate Combat, and then he could have just ran the Crypto Bros scheme like out the fucking wazoo, and
well, he already got busted for some crypto pump and dump at some point in the past, so maybe the Karate Combat guys weren't messing with him on that one.
True, fair. So, it just sucks to see that people are still investing in boxing promotions, especially if they're just straight traditional boxing. Because, when you look at bare knuckle, or you look at dirty boxing, or you look at some other, offshoots of what boxing was, I think they're just a lot more entertaining. And the top G, investing in just a random boxing celebrity fucking promotion, the TikToker shit, the shit that's going to have Tony Ferguson on it soon. I mean,
already did. He's a champ over there now. But no, I mean,
was that actually Misfits? Really? Wow.
Yeah.
God
yeah,
damn,
absolutely. It was.
Wow, that is so crazy.
As he beat the Salt Poppy for a belt.
I surely thought that would have been Tony Ferguson in a promotion, and the Salt Poppy was like good enough to be in not the celebrity league anymore. But wow, you're telling me it was the Misfits. Is
oh, certainly. But that's the point, though, is that you're saying like, the why that promotion. It's because of the combat sports element of it is secondary in Misfits. The name of the promotion is Misfits for a reason. It's supposed to be freak showy. It's not it's the influencer side of it, not the fighting side of it. That's the draw of the promotion. So that makes sense there. When it comes to Karate Combat, like that, I think is the distinction, right? Is that there are certain promotions that are going for actual combat, and then there are other ones that are going for more spectacle based. I think that something like Karate Combat wants to be more combat based. They maybe have a little bit of the spectacle in there at times, but like overall, their focus is still the fighting. And you actually see people get knocked out and actual fighting occasionally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one is, I'm looking at the chat here talking about, Smiling Sam holding that belt in 2025. Pretty crazy. Robellis, was once the UFC protege, the people's champ, will you? But as of right now, we know that he is not somebody that can compete at the highest level of mixed martial arts. But when it comes to Karate Combat, it is less mixing of the martial arts rather than it is just specific styles of the martial arts. And those could overthrow a lot of different styles of martial. Like if Robellis is, he was a bronze medalist or gold medalist, some medalist of Taekwondo.
Bronze, yeah.
That is applicable to this sport more than others because there is no wrestling involved in Taekwondo versus a karate based. Those can match up evenly rather than somebody as a wrestler because it changes the playing field. You guys all know this. Robellis could go out here and potentially beat Sam Alvey. I would not say it's out of the realm, but Sam Alvey is somebody that has lost like 9 times in a row in the UFC. Robellis lost twice and they kicked him out. So I don't know what that means, but whatever.
No, I mean, I think that really what you just described is exactly the value of these other promotions is that it makes perfect sense. You like Sam Alvey not having the breadth of ability when it comes to mixed martial arts can thrive in a different environment that is more restrictive in the way that you compete. Yeah. So, I mean, that's these other promotions serve a definitive purpose in that way. Robellis to Spain, the exact same thing is exactly what you laid out. I mean, he has nothing on the ground. He doesn't need to have anything on the ground in Karate Combat. So you play to your strengths. You go to the places where you will have better success. And we talk about that all the time on the podcast. It's like, oh, this guy does X thing well. He should go over to X promotion and do it there.
100%.
So yeah, I think that this serves a fantastically fine purpose as far as I'm concerned, and then it keeps him around a little bit for some of these guys because, like, we enjoyed seeing Robellis get his knockouts when he did that, but he couldn't do that consistently without the rest of the elements. He can do that consistently in Karate Combat, and in reality, probably he's going to do it again here against Sam Alvey.
Yeah, he's probably going to do this for a really long time, I would say. And it seems to be what he wants to do. Karate Combat seems to take care of their big name players that they know are going to be their celebrities. Alice Pereira, and probably, to be honest, seeing what Alex is kind of in this state where he wants to be at the top of the world, but he knows that he didn't always have money. This is an opportunity when he's done with his UFC career. He saw what Karate Combat has done with his sister. He could go here, stay here for a couple. He could be 50 years old in karate combat and just obliterate people. Like, so, and they're going to pay him in so many different crypto coins, and I think that's something that he would take advantage of. But I could be
him and
wrong.
Longboat are going to be trading coins back and forth to each other, just circular money just going all over that blockchain.
Exactly. So I think these are all potential possibilities. But when it comes to this fight specifically, I think we are all just in for a treat. December 5th, make sure you guys are watching. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I certainly want to be tuning in for that one. Why not? I mean, again, the two really, as far as karate combat goes, I mean, I would say that Sam Alvey and Robellis really are kind of their biggest names. I mean, who else? Who else?
I can't really tell you the Pakistan guy. I can't really tell you his name. Can't tell you anybody else. Makayev competed there once. Brendan Allen and Kaio, they grappled there once.
Again, doesn't count. It's a grappling competition, a little extra thing that they were doing.
True.
My point is made here. I mean, these are their two biggest stars, so let them throw down. It really
100%.
is Godzilla versus King Kong. Why not?
100%. But listen, if anybody else has anything to share at this point, this is your time, comment section, because we're out of moments.
Oh,
for
that's
the week.
This is the
end. This was the wrap up. I don't know if you were expecting more. I thought this was a decent supply of them.
I love it.
We got a little mix of, obviously we got our karate combat. We got our Tracy Cortezes. We got to stay and it is what it is. We got our Muhammad Makayevs. We got our little bit of everything. So I'm just glad everybody was here. So comment section. Love to see you guys having a good time in there. Appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you guys most definitely. Of course, we've got a very large pay-per-view tomorrow where we will both be watching along live. Myself and the Vitz King will be live on youtube.com/@YamaShow. Chase, I know that you are watching as well.
Yes, I will be watching the UFC on youtube.com/@CP Smalls. And of course, on Fridays, I'll be watching One Championship. So please make sure you keep that on your calendar, because that is where me and the Mank in the chat right here will be watching One every Friday that there is a card applicable.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, go and hang out if you are around on a Friday morning. Get your fights in early. And, of course, shout out to Chase, the man here, for pulling double duty on a Friday, getting the early One stream in and coming back to do the Friday free-for-all as well. So really good deal here, brother.
I definitely enjoyed it too. There was a good amount of stuff. I really, the Malcolm Wellmaker part, man, he's just such a cool guy. Love the video.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, I've been wanting to. Now, we've got him. I would have liked to have gotten something out this week about it, but I've been toying with a nice little kind of just a showcase of some of his nicer moments outside of the cage, because of how impressed I am with him as a person. He puts on for his community. He's very active in his community. He's very active in giving back. He's again just a well-spoken, great guy who is, as I said, I think that if you are looking for role models in this sport, Malcolm Wellmaker should be somebody that you look to.
100%, definitely 100% on that one. You hit the nail on the head, man. That was really good.
All right. Well, then I guess that will about do it for the Friday free for all. I appreciate all you guys. I know Chase does as well. As we said, we will be here tomorrow. Next week is extremely busy for your boy, but just be aware that I am in the process of getting the Warrior review edited up as we speak. I'm about a quarter of the way through now. That's how busy your boy has been recently. But it will be edited. It will have all of the still images from the film that will match up with our 4-hour conversation about it. If you have not seen the Warrior review yet, you can watch it in VOD form. That's us without the images. But if you wait, come back, you watch it in the edited video form, you're going to get everything that you need out of that. So keep an eye out for that. And of course, we will be back on Monday as well with the review of 322. So until all of then, everybody, I guess that will about do it, eh?
Yeah, that will definitely do it. Actually, one last thing. CTSPN Sugar Sean has a defense against Cheeto Vera, and he was on Dana White's Contender Series. Enough said. Case closed. You're welcome there, pal. Just had to check him real quick because, CTESPN, before we go, I just want you to know that if you think you know better, you know just about as much as me when it comes to this fight game, because we are on the same page, pal. Love it.
Bingo. There you go. There you have it. All right, cool. Then yeah, I mean, I guess that, we'll wrap it up there. It seems like that's about a good place to do it. So, all right, guys, thank you very much for hanging with us. Of course, be back for tomorrow, and have a great rest of your night. Fight on.
Hell yeah.
Change.